and because this is really what I wanted to talk about, and that was the whole point of the video, and that is the whole problem that I've got with the Switch 2, and why I'm regretting buying it, and I'm kind of fed up with the Switch 2 now, and why I'm finding myself going back to the Switch 1. So we're just gonna run a couple of minutes and then probably end it, because this is all I wanted to talk about. So you probably know, if you're on the fence. So as I said, I restart the live stream because I'm just gonna get straight to the point of what I wanted to actually talk about. So anyone out there, if you're thinking about wanting to buy the Switch 2, don't waste your time, save your money, and just wait. There is no rush to go out and buy a Switch 2. There's no rush. Save your money, and I'm going to tell you why. As you can probably see with Nintendo's track record, there is nothing new coming on this specific console that you see here. Nothing new is coming to the console. Absolutely nothing. So this is going to be a rant about Switch 2 editions. I was not planning really to buy it since I have so much. Exactly. I would save you money, I honestly would. I'd save you money because there's no rush. This is someone that owns the console and has owned it for a couple of months now. So I'm going to tell you and show you why you shouldn't rush out and buy one. So, all Nintendo seems to keep doing is just re-releasing Switch 2 editions. That's all they keep doing, is re-releasing Switch 2 editions. Animal Crossing, you've even got Mario Wonder. They just re-release the same game, and they say, hey, we'll slap DLC on it, and we'll charge you like $70 for the same game. Now I'm going to show you why they did this. I'm going to show you, because it's another thing of Nintendo's little scam that they got going. Just give me a second, I'll show you why they released the Switch 2 version. And you'll know why. Because I own, where is it? I own every Mario game. Here's some more. There it is. We're going to show you why Nintendo keep releasing these Switch 2 editions, because they're doing this to make you buy the same game again. Really shouldn't do that, but just watch this. Watch this. You see this? This game here. This is the game that they're selling you for. They're going to be reselling you. This is why they're doing it. Just watch. See how it loads? Just watch though. They purposely did this. They locked it behind an update. This game, they locked it behind an update so they could sell you the same game again for $60 to $70. That's why they did it. This is all Nintendo can do now, and it needs to stop. It honestly needs to stop. There's garbage with Switch 2 edition this, Switch 2 edition that. It needs to stop, and they need to actually start making brand new games. But they know they can get away with it. They're just re-releasing the same crap. And they locked this game purposely behind an update so I can't play it without an internet connection. But what is it they're like? Oh, who doesn't have an internet connection these days? Again. Yeah, this is exactly why they're selling you the same game again. Also, again, there's another game that doesn't work on the Switch 2 without an internet connection, and mean then even with an internet connection, it still doesn't work. They're going to resell you Mario 8, Kart 8 Deluxe. I guarantee you they're going to sell that game again, a Switch 2 version, because this is all Nintendo can do. I can't download it because, again, as you can see, I'm not connected to the internet. Hence, that's why this console. Now, if you've ever connected your Switch 2 to the internet, that video that I made will not work. This will pop up every time. But it isn't a surprise with Nintendo. They're going to re-release this game, Mario Wonder, because they locked it behind an update. This is why they locked it behind an update, so they could resell you the same game. They locked this game so you cannot play it without an update. They did it on purpose. There is no excuse and no reason to block that game from working on the Switch 2. Only 2 games don't work on this console, which is Mario Kart 8 and Mario Wonder. Those 2 games do not work because they're going to sell you those 2 games again. They're literally going to sell you those 2 games again. I guarantee you Nintendo is going to sell you these two games again. And we already know that all the Nintendo fanboys, we've seen it all over Twitter, all the YouTubers are like, oh, Animal Crossing, the reselling us the same damn game again for $60 to $70, and all they've done is barely upgraded the graphics. And these Nintendo fanboys are like, oh, this is awesome, this is awesome, this is awesome, Animal Crossing. I'll just go play Animal Crossing. I'll go out and buy the Animal Crossing, the Switch 1 version, and I'll play that. It's ridiculous, it honestly is. It's just stupid. But they blocked this game, doesn't work on the Switch 2 at all. Even with an update, there's still issues with it, because that's why I said, anytime you see Nintendo block a game from working on the Switch 2, expect them to sell you the same game again. There's absolutely no reason to sell me this game again. It's just greed. That's all it is. It's greed. See, I take care of my console. I use this, a glasses thing, to get dust off of it. But yeah, no reason to lock me out. As you can see, it will not download because it's not connected to the internet, so they lock it, as you can see. Could not connect to the internet. So yes, good old Nintendo, we're going to block this game from working on the Switch 2 so we can sell it here again. They'll do it with Mario Kart 8, because as I said, Mario Kart 8 does not work on the Switch 2 for whatever reason. Only 2 games don't work. Yeah, I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. I wonder why these games ain't working. Because they're just gonna resell them again. It's pathetic. This is why I said there's no reason to rush out and go buy a Switch 2. There's no reason. Just wait. Be patient. They're not selling out like people are claiming. No one's buying the Switch 2. That's why it's always in stock in the stores. Every time that I go in a store, it's always in stock. The games are always in stock. Because no one cares about the Switch 2. There's no games on it. There's no actual real exclusives. Besides one. Well, 2. But the second one's just a basically remake of an old game that already exists. In reality, it's not a new game. But that's why I find myself going back to this. A far better console with far better games. It's actually got games. The only thing this thing is good for is kind of like emulation. That's really all the Switch 2 is, an emulator. Because it doesn't have any games on it. As I've already showed how many hours I've put into this game. I've got up to the freezer level on Donkey Kong Bonanza, and as well, where they charge people for the DLC, it should have been in the game at launch. It honestly should have been in the game at launch. These people Nintendo going, hey, we're gonna charge you for the DLC. It should have been free. Because also they're doing it with Pokemon. I guarantee you that DLC was actually part of the game, but they decide, hey, we're just gonna cut it out of the game and resell it here. Not really shocked by it. But they just need, as I said, they just need to release something on this console. They need to release actual games instead of just releasing Switch 2 editions. It's just ridiculous. It's stupid. And it needs to stop. It really needs to stop. They need to start releasing these Switch 2 editions. Now, the only Switch 2 edition that I bought was to unlock, because you can see this has never been connected to the internet. I only bought this because it unlocks every single game, Switch 1, the ability to play every single Switch 1 game without an internet connection. That's the only reason I bought this. Because this is like 60 something, £64 for this. It ain't worth it. They're just robbing people. And also as well, Nintendo think that their controllers are actually worth $74.99. No, they're not. It's just ridiculous. It honestly is. Nintendo really do not care. They think that $74.99 is worth, that a controller is worth $74.99. I mean, you can say whatever you want about PlayStation, but I'd say Nintendo is way more greedy than PlayStation has ever been. PlayStation controller, the God of War one that came out, the controller's like, what, 60 something? But Nintendo think, hey, I need to get the charger now, give me a second. It's at 10%, so give me a second. I'm gonna have to move. The battery's going dead on the phone, so just give me a second. Is it? There it is. So just give me a second, I've got to put the charger on the phone. Otherwise the live stream will just end. There we go. But as I said, it is just ridiculous. It honestly is. It really is ridiculous. Because there's no reason, like I said, there's no reason to release Animal Crossing for $64.99. There's no reason to do so, but again, like I said, Nintendo fanboys just love buying the same games. It's just the same. It kind of does remind me of PlayStation with The Last of Us. That's all Nintendo really is doing now. Where PlayStation, they would sell The Last of Us, the same game, like 3 to 4 times. Nintendo's is doing that now. That's all Nintendo's doing, exactly what PlayStation were doing. The exact same thing. Get both consoles, move this out the way. Because as you can see, I own both consoles, and they shouldn't be selling, that's the rant here, they shouldn't be selling the same games and charging you like 64, and all they do is like, oh, we're just going to upgrade the graphics and it runs at 60 frames. But we'll fully pay full price for it, these fanboys. And this is exactly why we're getting no new games on the Switch term. And that's why we're not getting anything. We're just getting these re-releases. What's the next release Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive going to be? Is it going to be a game that was on the Switch 1 again? Wouldn't surprise me, I honestly wouldn't, with Nintendo at this point. I guarantee you the next exclusive for the Switch 2 is going to be a Switch 1 Switch 1 game that's turned into a Switch 2 edition. Because that's all Nintendo can make now is these Switch 2 editions of the same game that released like a decade ago. And considering with the Animal Crossing crap, shows how lazy Nintendo actually are. 30 frames. So they couldn't be bothered to release that game at 60 frames per second. And they're like, oh, we're just going to upscale it a little bit. And then we're going to release it for $64.99. And these Nintendo fanboys just eat it up. Because Nintendo fanboys don't know what quality is. They really don't. They love being taken advantage of by Nintendo. They really do. They love being taken advantage of by Nintendo. Because 64, almost nearly 70 for a game that came out, I think, in like 2013 or something like that. No thanks. Release new games, Nintendo, instead of releasing Switch 2 editions. You wonder why your console's not selling. You wonder why it's never out of stock. Because nobody wants it. Because again, that's why I'm finding myself going back to the Switch 1. And that's why you see Switch 1 games being played on the my Switch 2, because that's all you can play on it. There's no games. There's none. We ain't getting another Mario game. It's not happening at this point. They're just gonna keep releasing Switch 2 editions until probably 2027. All they keep focusing on is these third-party games, and they're not new games. They're old games. You've got these third-party games, and they're like Fallout 4, what else? Persona. How long? And it runs at 30 frames. It runs worse than a PS5 version and a PC version. But the Nintendo fanboys eat that up. They're not releasing new games. They're just releasing old games that nobody cares about. No one cares about Persona. No one cares about Star Wars Outlaws. And nobody cares about Fallout. Who wants to play Fallout 4 on a Switch term? Seriously. Seems all the Switch 2 was made for was just playing old games. That's why I said the Switch 2 is just an emulator. That's all it is. They should have called this console the emulator term, because that's all it does. It's just emulation of old games that came out decades ago. Because how old is Fallout 4? Seriously, how old is that game? And it's most likely gonna run at like 30 frames. So you're literally buying downgraded versions of old games for full price. in my opinion, the Persona Reload was a scummy port. No DLC was included in that game. The game runs terrible. It runs barely at 30 frames. The game runs like garbage. And N- Nintendo does love Nintendo fanboys just love it. They really do. Well, that's what I said. You're just finding me playing Switch 1 games. Because Switch 1 games are actually good. Switch 2 games, Donkey Kong Bonanza is fun. It's a great game, but it's not a masterpiece. It is not a masterpiece. It's fun, but you have to stop playing Donkey Kong Bonanza for a long time because the game once you play one level, two level, three level, four level, you basically played the whole game. None of it doesn't change up, and it's just the same repetitive stuff over and over again. Mario Kart World different. Mario Kart World was fun, but the single player was kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, the Switch 2 editions need to stop. They seriously do need it. They need to stop. The Switch 2 editions of games on the Switch 2, they need to stop doing it. They honestly do, because it's just ridiculous now. We're not getting any new games. We're just getting old games over and over and over again. I'm just fed up with seeing it. I really am. I'm just fed up with seeing Switch 2 editions at every single Nintendo Direct. Hey, there's a Nintendo Direct. Oh, we're just going to announce a game that came out decades ago. Oh, thanks Nintendo. Thanks Nintendo. I'm really glad that I bought a Switch 2. You're really releasing a game that came out decades ago. Yeah, thanks Nintendo. The only good No, I'm not a Nintendo hater either. People will probably think that I'm not. I'm Nintendo hate baiting or whatever they want to say. No, I prefer Nintendo. It's just I'm sick and tired of this Nintendo Switch 2 edition crap. It needs to stop. It really does. It needs to stop, and they need to stop selling the same damn game over and over again. Because again, there's one great thing about the Switch 2. The only good thing is it runs game. If some games run like crap on the Switch 1, obviously they're gonna run better because it's more powerful, more it's more powerful hardware because it's like 1080p. It's got an SSD, I believe, stuff like that. That's all the Switch is good for. Is it runs games that on the Switch were on, they run terrible. They run better on the Switch too. Because obviously it's going to run better. It's a better console and it's a updated console. But still, I still find myself playing Switch 1 games because there's just nothing on this console. The best decision, like I said, Nintendo made was this. People cried about this, but it was the best thing that Nintendo ever did. That was the only good thing that was announced during the Direct, was this. That was the only thing that I got excited for, was the Mario Galaxy Collection. Everything else was like, hey, and probably that Mario Tennis game. The Mario Tennis game, I'm actually excited for that. Looks like a great game. Looks fun. That's what the Switch 2 needs. More of that. It needs more of that. That's what Nintendo needs to understand and get. That's what people bought a Switch 2 for. They didn't buy it to play the same games that they played on the Switch 1. Because most people that bought the Switch 2, most people have connected to the internet, so they'll be playing Mario Wonder already on the Switch 2. So why would I want to buy the same game when I can just play it on the Switch 1? Oh, it runs at 4K and 60 frames per second. Couldn't care less. And this was the era of when Nintendo was great. They released great games like this. Mario 3D World, great era. They released games like this. Luigi's Mansion, great game. They released games like, where's the Mario Odyssey, great game. You see the difference now. The Switch 2, we haven't got a single Mario game. Yet look how many we've got on the Switch 1. We got Mario Odyssey. We got Mario 3D World, which is a masterpiece. We have these two, which are old games, great games. And that's what gets me as well. Nintendo released an update for the All Stars collection that nobody can own anymore. If they're going to re-release something, re-release the limited time edition collection of, I don't know who that is, but if they're going to re-release something, re-release the All Stars collection that was for a limited time. That's what Nintendo need to do. Release it, make a Switch 2 edition of it, charge like 60 for it. People will willfully pay that instead of releasing garbage like this. That's what they need to do. Release games that people actually want, Nintendo, instead of garbage like that. And the console would sell. I guarantee you the console would sell if they actually release games that people actually want. But no. Nintendo's just about greed and all they care about is money. So of course they're going to continue to do what PlayStation has done for a decade. Re-release the same games again and again and again. Pathetic. And welcome to the stream. Forgot to say that, but yeah, that's my opinion, and this is an opinion from someone that's had the Switch since June. I've had it since June, and I've seen what the Switch is about, and I've played enough games on the Switch 2, I've played enough hours on the Switch 2, I've had it for months, so this is my opinion. In my opinion, if you're on the fence about getting a Switch 2, I wouldn't rush in to get one. I'd hold off. It's not as great as people say it is. These people are just fanboys. It's a great console, but it's not a masterpiece. It does perform better than the Switch 1, miles better, but it's not worth 500. It really isn't. All it really is just a Switch 1 massively upgraded. That's really what it is. It performs better, it feels better, but still love the Switch 1. But yeah, that's just my issue with the Switch 2. The Switch 2 editions, that's my real problem. The console's fine. I've had no issue with the console. It's perfectly fine, this console. I've had no issue with it. It's perfectly fine. The issue is the Switch 2 crap. The Switch 2 edition nonsense that needs to stop. They need to actually release actual games instead of releasing the same games. So yeah. I've made the point. I just wanted to make this video. If you, if people are on the fence, make your own judgment. But if I was you, I wouldn't rush out and go buy a Switch 2. I really wouldn't. I'd wait until more games are actually on the platform and actual stuff are on the console. Because at the moment, there's just no real reason to own a Switch 2 because there's nothing on it. But this is just my opinion. Because I'm not interested in games like Link, Legend of Zelda. I'm not into franchises like that. I'm not into Kirby. So, I've got nothing to look forward to on this console because I don't care about those franchises. So, the only franchises I care about on the Switch is Mario. And we ain't getting one. We ain't getting one until 2026. Which sucks. Is what it is. So yeah. I'll see you in the next live stream. Just wanted to make this video because this is my true opinion and thoughts about the Switch 2. I've had it for months, like I said. I've already proven that. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you screenshots. We'll end it off with showing that. Just give me a second. Now, where is it? There it is. We'll end it off with this. Proof that I've had the Switch 2 for a long time. We can go all the way down to, well, we can't because it's not the actual game, but I've been playing this game for over 105 hours. 4 hours. 105 hours have completed the DLC on the entire game. So yes, I have owned the Switch for a long time, since release. So yeah, I'm not a Nintendo hater, but Nintendo is just doing some stupid stuff. So yeah, I'll see you in the next live stream. Take care everyone, and have a great day. I appreciate all the support, like I say, over the live streams. It means a lot. Really do appreciate it. I'll see everyone in the next live stream. Take care. Have a great night, or whatever time it is where you are. Take care.